Hello and welcome to the LCS Report. My God, are you not entertained? We both won 5 games. We both got 5 games. So let's just get right into it, man, with T1 versus AL. What a series. Just the the series was very exciting. It was a lot of really cool games, but the hubris of T1 is unmatched. T1 are down 2-1. And what do? They go Kai'Sa game 4. I'm pretty sure Guma has like a 30% Kai'Sa win rate. Guma is not a very good Kai'Sa. They brought it out, I think, during Swiss stage and lost as well. He's just not a very good Kai'Sa. And they picked Kai'Sa going into game 4. And that game looked like it was pretty much a stomp. Like they just completely destroyed AL. It was very strange to see them go into champions that they have historically shied away from because they know what their strengths are, they know how to play, and they just pick those. They pick the Kai'Sa, they win with the Kai'Sa. We go into game 5, we're like, all right, AL fight so hard. They push tooth and nail. This was one of the closest games I've ever seen. Like the amount of pressure. The drafting from AL was phenomenal, by the way. Getting game 5 Jinx is something AL has done over and over and won with over and over. It was so cool to see. They pick up the Jinx. What does T1 do? When they're hubris, they pick a bunch of champions they don't even play. What was this Ashe Seraphine plus Mel comp? They pick a comp they don't play and they win with it. This was actually crazy, the fact that they did this. Like, I don't know what type of buff T1 get when they go to Worlds quarters, when they play against an LPL team, but I mean, game 1 was vintage T1. Game 1, you get vintage T1 where like they're down, but they're fighting, and then all of a sudden AL have the lead, and then T1 one fight, and then the momentum completely shifts to their favor. They won every single fight. You go into game 2, it looks like the same thing is happening, but then AL kind of don't make the same mistakes. They get incredible drafts throughout the series. They win that game 2, win that game 3. Every single game was tense besides game 4. I mean, what more could you want?
The plot armor just is so thick with these guys, honestly. Because I said this yesterday. It's like there is no logical way why I'm going to predict T1 other than I think they have just insane plot armor. And you even saw it in that last game. They were down 5,000 gold, and then they win one fight in the bottom lane alcove. Then they get Elder, they get Baron, and then the game just ends because they like. It looked like AO was stun locked when T1 got those buffs and they were just walking down mid. They didn't even fight back. They didn't. There was no fight to end the game. It was just T1 literally just walked down because all they had, they knew they just had to, like with the Ashe and the Mel AP damage on the turrets, they were gonna just shred through those like butter, and like it's just insane. One thing is like I really feel for Flantry because he was putting them on their back on this series, man, and like I thought he won them the series very, very early on with the TP in to catch them out when he wasn't even particularly doing well in the lane. And then I thought, okay, that's like his moment. And then T1 just does T1 things, and now we're saying we're gonna predict the finals, the layer, but like it looks like we're setting up for that T1 Gen G. Like it's written on the trophy at this point.
Yeah, I mean we've seen this matchup multiple times, but to think we could see it in the finals. But you're right. Just to give Fondre his prop, I mean this guy hasn't had his like he hasn't won in so long. You know, he obviously he won Worlds in 2021. Don't get me wrong, but then like to go in the ups and downs of EDG and to now come onto AL, a team where he kind of said like this wasn't a championship winning team, to come and to play like he did, to make it to every single finals, or almost every single finals that he in the LPL, to make it to the Demacia Cup finals and then make it to the finals in Split 1, actually win in Split 2. And yes, he finished third Split 3, but just either way to make it so far, after having like a regression in his career and to keep fighting. And you're right, like that Mordekaiser game, for example, that game 4, I know it was a stomp, but he was the one that was making it a game. Otherwise, the game would have been done in like 20 minutes. This
Yeah.
guy was playing out of his mind. He really, really was pushing everything that he could, finding every angle. I mean, it. You have to at some point say T1 is great, but their opponents were just as great. Your opponent doesn't push you to 5, doesn't push you to game point, doesn't push you up to 1 if they're not great as well. And yes, T1 are clutch. T1 just, again, I'm just like stun locked by the Mel. They picked the Mel, and the Mel just like completely crushed them. It was such a good um play from Faker. Like the way he kills the Otacon, gets like it's every time you look at it and you're like, oh, maybe this person misplayed, or maybe Faker could have done this, or like it wasn't. But he just does it every single year, over and over and over again, and that's like he's the only person that does this. He's the most clutch, and so like yes, Flandre, this is probably a finals matchup. This could have been World's Finals, but you're just up against the most clutch team that we've seen.
And the thing is, like, if you are a believer in double elim, then this is the series that is going to sell you on that. I'm not a double elim fan for Worlds personally. I just because I think if AO were to win this series, you know how historic that is, because this is the first time a team has taken a game off of T1 in quarterfinals. I believe, like I maybe I'm reading that the thing wrong, but I thought that T1 has not like dropped the map in quarterfinals since Splice in 2019. Maybe I'm reading that wrong because my memory is completely shot at the moment. But like T1 just does not lose these, and like to like this is why I'm a big believer in like the single elim, because if AO goes on to wins this series, that is such a, even if they don't go on to win worlds, it's an historic achievement for these guys because no one has done it. Because you have that on your resume, you beat T1 in a worlds bracket match. Because not many teams have done that in history.
Not a single one has that in quarters.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I also need to give Tabe his props. This man is legendary. Wherever he goes, besides Brazil, but ever since then, wherever he goes, he just turns his teams into gold. He sets them up so well. He plays like he gives them a structure that yes, like teams have their flaws, but every time they end up showing up. His drafting style is consistent. The type of gameplay that we see from the teams that he's on is very very consistent, and that shows you that hey, throughout different teams, he is the one implementing these things. And honestly, like people are gonna laugh at the LPL and say, haha, look, TES were better because they made it to semifinals and AL didn't. But I mean, just like look at the strength of opponent. Top Esports had a Western team. You're like, I mean, come on. Like they
Yeah.
had probably the softest team of the top 8, right? Whereas AL had legitimately like this could have been the finals of Worlds. Like no joke, AL could have beaten Gen G and like played T1 in the finals if they were on opposite sides of the bracket. They got the hardest draw. And remember, AL went 3-0. Like that has to sting a little bit, but just to speak on Tabe and just all of AL honestly, this was not a team that people predicted to win anything. Even when they made it to the finals of Demacia Cup, people were still just like, it's Demacia Cup. You know, BLG are still not like fully in. There's rosters like IG that could have made it, like could have won. I think IG made it to the finals as well. Like you just didn't give them their flowers. And like international fans are like, AL, what's that? Anyone's legends? Like, what are this panda? What's going on? It's just it's very refreshing to see these players like Tarzan and Flandre have their resurgences, and just for coaching staff to do such a phenomenal job with like bringing them to 5 games against T1, which, like you said, has never happened in a quarterfinals. T1 has never been pushed this hard in quarterfinals. And just to speak on T1 as well, Keria had a bounce back series. Keria was not looking like Keria throughout Worlds.
Yeah.
And he came in today and he was like, no, no, no. It's my time. To go into Shanghai and do this, like you're not doing this at like a small stage. You're doing the stage was hostile, man. Like, yes, there were a lot of T1 chants. Don't get me wrong. Anywhere in the world, there are T1 chants. But you go to Shanghai against AL, man, those AL chants were louder than the T1. Yeah. He was uncomfortable. This is not normal for T1 to be playing anywhere in the world and not be like the fan favorites. So it was very impressive to see that he could turn it back on. Owner was playing well. It just feels like T1 do this every single year where they get back in form. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter when, they always will get back in form. They will give us good League of Legends. It's just such a pleasure to watch. And hopefully I can get a Doran interview, man. I've been trying so hard.
You got Keen. That's
I did get Keen. I did get Keen.
I saw
I got
this
him.
one.
Okay.
Was like, nice.
Here's if you believe in any sort of like KT magic, last year Hanwha Genji played against T1 in the semifinals, and I got a keen interview, and they lost. This year, I got a keen interview in the semifinals. Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? I don't want to get another keen loser interview, man. It's gonna suck. I want to talk to him when he's happy for once.
Just to confirm, that stat was correct. This is the first time a team has taken a map off of T1 since 2019 in cores. Every so against RNG, Frio, Hanwha Life. Oh, I forgot the other stat I was just reading, but
They didn't play Home Life.
yeah, they
In
played
quarters.
in 2022.
They played Hanwha in 2022. They played RNG in 2022. They played Hanwha probably in 2021.
Probably
But I thought
wait.
that was Genji that played Hanwha in 2021.
I can get it here quickly. I've got the thing.
But yeah,
No,
2022 was RNG.
no,
2023.
Genji
Oh, go
played
ahead.
a C9 in 2021,
Oh, okay.
and T1 played Hanwha Life.
Okay, okay. But yeah, just a phenomenal series. I had so much fun watching. I'm hoping. Look, I don't have that many hopes in top esports, but I'm hoping it goes to 5. Just give us 5 games. Just everybody, if we can get 3 more 5 game banger series the next 2 days and then next week, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happy with this worlds.
Like we can caveat to that because I did have it as the next topic. We'll be lucky if this series goes to 4 games, let alone 5.
Just don't give me a 3-0.
After
I don't want to see any more 3-0s,
after what
please.
I've seen today, I'm sorry. I'm predicting a T1 Frio
Me too. Me too. I don't
because
want to see it,
AO
but
played
I
out
just
of their
assume.
minds and still lost. So I have sorry, like I know I don't like to do results based analysis. I don't see any hope for top esports after watching this series today. Because this is what it kind of looks like when T1 aren't playing sick. I know it was the best of one against Genji, so you can't really like look into it too hard. But they got demolished in that game, and people were starting to doom them. Maybe even myself a little bit. But apparently they're not sick anymore. Apparently earlier on, multiple players were sick, and maybe that's why they were looking worse, like towards the back end of Swiss. But yeah, I mean, if this is what T1 are gonna look like when they're in like full health, then we're gonna have a banger into Worlds.
The only thing that I'm a little bit sad is in general, I prefer having like multi-region finals. Like LPL versus LCK finals are always more exciting than LCK versus LCK for me personally. I know some people prefer to see it. Especially we're gonna be going into Chengdu where it's in China, right? And you're likely gonna have 2 LCK teams. It's just it irks me a little bit. I would have loved to see like to like LPL versus LCK, but hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. These are the best teams in the world, and they earned their right to be there. So you can't really hate it. But for T1 versus Top Esports, this is my prediction. Top Esports is going to be a very close game one. And then T1 is going to win game one, and then Top Esports is going to mentally collapse, and it's going to be a swift game 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Game two is going to be a little bit of hope. Maybe the first 10 minutes are going to be close, and then it's over by the second dragon. And then game three, you go in knowing that like it's completely doomed. You know that that's going to happen. But hey, maybe Kanavi and Home have some magic up their sleeve. Maybe Jackie Love is playing like 2018 again. Like I can't even find you the angle where they win, but I'm hoping that it's a closer matchup than last year because last year they got demolished.
Navi on Kiana is my only hope. Like, and
Kiana Nafiri, what other
I know he
champions can he
lost. I know
play?
he lost on it recently, but like that's my only hope for top esports.
Yeah, honestly, just go. I mean, okay, maybe not the Belveth. We saw Kanavi versus playing Belveth versus Ono. That didn't. He was running it down, so maybe not Belveth. You have Kiana, you have Nafiri. That's 2 games. That'll take us to 5. You know that's something.
This tier one is so like they showed every single layer that they have in this series. Like
Layers we didn't know that they had the Mel Ash Seraphine,
yeah,
the Mundo even when they pulled it out.
like it's nice to see Faker back on the Blanc. He was styling on Victor. Like
He wasn't on the block. That was Shanks.
sorry, that's Shanks. Yeah, but
Yeah, he played Victor quite
like
well.
yeah, it's just now you have no idea what they're gonna pick. And like it felt a little like a Hail Mary, even though if they probably have prepared like this type of like draft. But I mean it completely paid off. And I don't think top are gonna be the one to even if they go into a similar 5K goal lead, like round it out.
Yeah. I one thing I will say about Fearless draft is this was probably the most enjoyable Fearless series I've watched.
Me
In
too.
general, I haven't been a fan. I'm not against Fearless, but I'm also not for Fearless, if that makes sense. I feel like there's strategy on both sides, and I appreciate strategy wherever it comes from. And I feel like the Fearless is almost like pushing a specific strategy where like at least with regular drafts you have a little bit more say. But either way, this was a very enjoyable like Fearless draft. And this is like I think what Riot had envisioned when they were like, we're gonna make Fearless. And people were complaining like, oh, look at how often game fives are stomps because Fearless and like blah blah blah. Like this is what you wanted. Like if you have like a pitch, a deck going into 2026 of why you want to keep Fearless, you show this best of five.
I agree. It's because eventually you're gonna have teams that are having a very, very good game five draft, and who's to say it was like a good one? Because like you saw them go down considerably, like in the early game, mid game, to the point where AO should have won. Like, if we're gonna be completely honest, but it's nice to see at least a team have an idea of what they want to play instead of like we saw like the C9 versus Fly and other series where it's like you're just throwing shit at the wall and hope it sticks. Um, it didn't feel like that. It felt like a very, very at least like very good draft. Or like good, like it's just like a clump of champions. You've seen T1 play some of these champions before, maybe not the Mel, but it's like you've seen Guma and Carrier with the like the Seraphine Ash. It's like okay, that makes sense because Guma's a phenomenal Ash. Or at least in this game, I thought like that guy was really, really trying to win. Um,
He was.
like and you thought, I was like down the mid river where you thought he was gonna 1v9 that like fight, but then Aatrox just jumped on him. But I I like Fearless Draft. Like it's just it is enjoyable for me. And I think the more that teams can come prepared later on, like the better we'll get. Because I'm kind of with you. It's like you do sometimes feel that the game's decided before you even get into the game five, which can kind of suck, especially like on a tournament of this magnitude.
Yeah, I mean, just to give BLG, AL their props again, that was phenomenal drafting. I felt like every single game they came out with like phenomenal drafts. It is very difficult. Like I'm not saying T1's drafts were bad, but what I am saying was AL had phenomenal drafts. Like
Yeah.
Tabe did everything he could. Like he did. At the end of the day, T1 was just better. Like you just have to bow down to superior gameplay and go next. And it's sad because this could have been World Finals again. This legitimately could have been World Finals.
Are you a big component for double elim, or do you like the high stakes of single elim for cores or for bracket even?
I'm so if we are doing single elim, I need more games. If we are doing double elim, then I just don't like the amount we get 7 best of 5s. That's the part of Worlds that really irks me. We get way more in MSI. That's the part that really bothers me. If we can get more best of 5s, however you want to, maybe it's like a single elim but you have like a different type of like waterfall bracket or something like that. That could be better, but I just what really bothers me is we get 7 best of 5s at a world champion. Like this is Worlds, man. We get seven games. I don't know.
My only argument, like I enjoy the high stakes. Like coming from a sports background, could you imagine if they tried to pitch like a double elim in a World Cup? It's like, oh, you've just knocked out Argentina. Well, guess what? They can come back later on. Like sports fans go crazy, and like I don't know how much you like
Yeah, but we
watch.
get a lot more games in the World
True,
Cup.
because you get like a round of 32 and like stuff like that. But like,
And 64, right? Doesn't
I
it
remember
start
the
64?
last World Cup where you had almost like the top 10 teams in the world on one side of the bracket, just because that's how it is drawn. But no one like complains about that in sports the way that esports fans do, where I don't like how esports fans are trying to perfect like tournaments because I just love the sports feel of anything can happen. You have to show up on the day, and you will get the reward if you win, and if you lose, tough shit. Like at the end of the day, AL had in MSI they took T1 to 5 games. Probably should have won then. In this series, they should have definitely won. Like how much you were up, I don't care if T1 got sold in the end. Like you really should have won that game, and then like the momentum's yours to go on and win worlds at that point.
I will say, I can see why people don't complain in like football or soccer, but that's also because we don't actually have formats that are double elim. Like think about it. When did we start complaining about Worlds format and like not having double elim? It's when MSI went to double elim and we were like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever." Right? I
I think
still
it's
prefer MSI format.
mm,
We get way more games. They're more jam packed, sure, but we get way more games. And like we would not have seen AL versus T1 if there was no double elim. We would not. We saw AL versus Gen G that happened, but like there are these games that we would not have seen if it was not double elim. And I also want to see the best teams in the world play against each other. That's why I'm like, look, I think a good even place is to just have more games. Just give us more best of fives. Make it so that the elimination games are all best of five. Make it so that there's no best of ones in Swiss. They're all best of threes. Elongate Swiss a little bit more, and then every promotion/elimination game is a best of five. I will be a happy camper. But I want more best of fives.
yeah. I see. Like I'm in a minority where I say I'm perfectly fine with the double elim, not double the single elim bracket because I'm just a traditional sports guy where I enjoy this high stakes and like I don't need to see a perfected bracket to get like more games and or like to see every matchup possible, like to see AL do the miracle run again, like go into the lower bracket and do like I'm just very traditional and said like you had your chance, you lost it. And they've had like their chances all year to win. Like to be fair, like MSI, you could argue like they should have beaten
They
T1
beat
then.
them at EWC, if that counts for anything.
It's a part of the calendar, so like sure. But like
So let me ask you a question actually.
okay.
If Gen G win Worlds, did they do the Golden Road? They didn't win LCK Cup, but according to LCK, that's not part of the LCK. They didn't make it to first stand, but it is a new tournament. They did win MSI. There was no like
No,
playoffs,
they haven't
but
done
they
the
were the
Golden
first
Road.
seeds.
They haven't done the Golden Road. And there's another international. There's first stand. Like you can't.
But if they did this last year, wouldn't they have done the Golden Road?
I just don't like those arguments because you could always say, well, in this time period, it would have been like, it would have counted. I'm always for what we have now, and what we have now is we have 3 international events. Yes, I don't like how the LCK got a bit wonky with like statistics on if Smash has actually played an LCK game or if he hasn't, like with the LCK Cup. That definitely needs to change for next year. By the way, like we can't be having that.
So
I
here's another question.
okay.
If they did not do the Golden Road, then what are we calling? Like, here's my thing. I think the Golden Road should be MSI plus Worlds.
It shouldn't be what
I
fans
think.
think. I think it should be what Riot Riot needs to like with like ESL and Blast. They have like the Grand Slam is you need to win this, and if you don't win this, you do not complete the Grand Slam. Like, that's what Riot needs to be saying. If you just think that it's MSI and Worlds plus like your domestic splits, that let's just say every single region has like an LCK Cup that is a preseason tournament, then sure, don't class that as like part of the Golden Road. But they should be saying you should have spring, MSI, Summer, and then Worlds, and keep it the original like thing. But Riot
LCK doesn't
aren't
have
like
spring.
listing
That's
it.
the problem.
Yeah, this is where it gets like funky.
Well, last year, so in 2023, they did technically say what the Golden Road was. They said it was both splits and both MSI and Worlds. They
They have
haven't said
to.
anything now, but my what I want to say is like, do not change the definition of Golden Road because you defined it, like you said. Riot literally made it like so that told Faker to talk about it, talk about the Golden Road. They talked about it with their talent. Don't change what the Golden Road is. Just make something new. Make the Grand Slam if you won LCK Cup plus or Split One plus First Stand. Make that the Grand Slam. Give it a different name, but do not change what we have historically had.
Yeah, and like the problem is with it ever changing. So, like I said, LCK doesn't have Spring Split. Well, then the Golden Road is completely nullified then, because if your definition is you have to win Spring, MSI, Summer, Worlds, well, you can't do that if the LCK doesn't have a Spring.
But they were first seed in spring, so I mean that is something.
So,
This
like
is
they
my issue
have
with
to
the format. It just
like,
makes it so difficult to talk about.
and this is why I think you need to have it like this. Like this is how I would do it because they do it in ESL because it's the ESL Grand Slam in Counter Strike. You don't have to win every single tournament to complete the Grand Slam. You have to win. You have to win a major. You have to win one of the Tier 1 tournaments, and you have to win ESL Pro League in a single calendar year. And there's like multiple ESL Pro Leagues, so you have like 2 or 3 chances at that. And then you win the Grand Slam, and then I think it's like you win like a gold bar, and like the team wins like $1 million. You need to do that for League. You need to say, right, you need to win one of your domestic splits. You have to win MSI and you have to win Worlds. Just one of the domestic splits. And then you have done like the League Grand Slam. Like,
Yeah, no,
because you
I'm
can't,
with you.
because you have to remove the Golden Road because at this point the format changes too much where you can't consistently have like a historic Golden Road because if it's changing every year so that one year spring split's not here, year summer split for some reason isn't here, how could you have like a consistent like one team does it this year but then one team did it in a different format? It just gets all like funky.
I mean, you can still say it's MSI and Worlds, Summer, and first seed going into MSI, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't have a finals, because technically there was a finals between Hanwha Life and but yeah, I see what you're saying. I still think it's the Golden Road. I still think they're on the path to Golden Road. They're not doing the Grand Slam, right? I think if you want, have EWC plus first stand as part of your Grand Slam, sure. But I wouldn't even add EWC, honestly. I would just like keep it to Riot Games like official tournaments. And I legitimately think that Gen G, after they beat Hanwha Life, which is what I'm predicting, after they beat KT, which is what I'm predicting, are on the road, are one best of 5 away from winning the Golden Road that T1 were the ones to stop back in 2023. Um,
It just gets wonky at this point because I don't class it as a Golden Road because you have a Riot recognized international tournament that Hanwha Life won. So then like you can't because
yeah, but that
Gen
never
G
was part of the Golden Road. It never was part of the Golden. Why are we adding it all of a sudden?
because I'm pretty sure
First
that's what
Stand was
Riot.
never part of the
I'm
Golden
pretty
Road.
sure look, hasn't Riot classified that as part of it. They haven't said that. To be
No,
fair,
no,
like
it's part of Riot tournament, but the Golden Road has always been your 2 domestic splits, MSI and Worlds. It has always been this way. No one has said, Riot has never come out and said all of a sudden the Golden Road has an extra. They didn't say that. My argument is now first stand in LCK Cup, the first split is part of a Grand Slam. If you want to do the Grand Slam, you need to win all 3. If you want the Golden Road, it's still just spring and summer and MSI and Worlds. Don't change that because now you're like it's wonky with history.
yeah, I
That's
think
my argument.
I think from next year, like, and I have to go in a minute, so I'll wrap this up quickly. I think that they just have to define. They have to have consistent formats now for years to come. Even if the formats within the splits change, if you're gonna you're gonna have first stand here forever. Cool. First stand, in my opinion, should be recognized as a like an international event and like that should be part of a Golden Road because it's like at the end of the day it's an international event and I think it should be classified as you either have to win first stand or EWC. One of the two counts towards that goal because they're both in some ways viewed the same that they don't really count. So you just have to
Uh-huh.
win one of those two. Probably first hand's the easiest to the easier to win, to be fair. Um, and then you have to just keep the splits the same. Like you need a spring and
Every
summer.
region has
You
their own
need,
thing, so
and
it's
that's
very
that's the
difficult.
and this is the problem. Like in VCT, they have the exact same splits every single region. In Korea, in China, in America, in Europe. Like
We don't even have the same number of teams. That's very difficult to do.
sure, but I'm sure that there is a way that they can figure out a format that still allows them to keep the same split structure, even if like the LCK or the LPL was 10 times longer than the LCS because we've only got 8 teams compared to 20 or so in the LPL. So yeah,
What's your prediction? ET versus Genji.
Genji Frio.
Genji 3-2. I want
Ooh,
5 games. And then I'm going 3-1 for T1 versus Top Esports. I think Top
nice,
take a
nice.
game, but not more. What
I
about
just
you?
think, I just think KT's fortune runs out, and they've already got
We
further
said
than.
that in LCK playoffs. We said that in LCK playoffs. They won.
The only thing you can think of is Genji will be very, very confident going into this matchup, and that they're one away from the finals, which they haven't done as a Genji organization, if I'm correct.
They did it in 2017
Sure, but that was part of Samsung, right?
and 2014. That was still Samsung, but it was still like the same. Like the Samsung Galaxy,
Okay,
I think, is the
in the
same.
Genji era, they've not made a finals,
Yeah,
but
that is
like
true.
because we know Riot are going to definitely milk it as like the Samsung versus T1 thing when they do make when it's T1 versus Genji in finals.
Yeah, literally the repeat of 2017. But no, I think Genji are gonna take it. It Ruler was saying he's getting 2017 vibes. Yeah, I feel it. I feel the vibes. I feel the vibes.
When I was watching AL, like I felt the RX vibes. Like this team just keeps finding a way, even when they're down in gold, to just keep winning. And then T1 shut that door.
Yeah, the plot armor is insane. Anyways, that's it from us today. Tomorrow, Genji will be playing against KT. Um, I don't know. I think most people are gonna say it's gonna be a 3-0 or 3-1. I'm expecting 3-2. I want it to go to all 5. We already did our prediction.